coach Mike Montgomery as the Huskies season begins here tonight against the Yale team that had a very good season last year, one of the best seasons in school history. We take a look at their starting five. Anthony Downey, a senior out of Pennsylvania, their team captain. Trey Fills, the son of the former NBA guard Bobby Fills. Sam Downey, one of the big men, 6'9", a senior out of Lake Forest, Illinois. Only have a chance for a breakout season. Only 3 career starts entering this year, but has played some good minutes over the course of time with Yale. Meanwhile, for the Huskies, David Crisp making his first career start. Matthew Steibel, we mentioned him, a big part of what the Huskies did last season. Meanwhile,
back since I tried to recruit him to the University of Montana. But, of course, the Husky fans coming off a very disappointing football loss last night.
Oh, you had to bring it. We can't even get the tip before we bring that up.
They're hungry for a win now. But, yeah, it'll be interesting. This young Husky team, lots of talent, and Lorenzo Romar, an established great coach, and it should be interesting this year.
Diamond Downey tipped things away, controlled by Yale. Hold on, beginning the pursuit of their 3rd straight Ivy League title.
Typical man-to-man open for Washington. They'll overplay everything. Very aggressive on defense.
Into the corner, finding Phillips. Under 10 to shoot. Baseline jumper from Reynolds off the mark. And stays in bounds. Controlled by the Huskies and Sam Timmons making his Huskies debut. Bolts right away with the ball, penetrating, hanging, finishing.
There's a good start to your first possession. Didn't need to find a teammate, just took it one-on-one, made a tough shot in traffic.
Elbow extended, and it's through by Downey, the freshman out of California.
That's the second time they've isolated Dime on the perimeter and shot over the top of him. That one was good.
A Dime, deep, two rattles out. They say that his 10 to 15-foot jumper has improved, but last year you didn't see Dime take too many of those shots.
I don't want my big guys shooting shots away from the basket. I want them in the paint anyway.
Here's a 3-ball put up by Yale and Reynolds. Loose ball controlled by Thibault. Thibault, the best returning 3-point shooter for the Huskies this year, as Pips gives it up to Fultz in the corner. Entry pass going to Timmons. Elbow in for some room, too strong.
See how big Timmons is? When he turned, the Yale defender just moved out of the way. Good defense by Washington that time. Very much in control with the basketball. Nice and slow, uses his size to get inside and finish.
Dollyer to inbounds. Dollyer puts it up. Dime fighting for it. And here comes Fultz. Crisp, left-handed 3.
Push off right inside there. The big guy. I think what you're going to see Yale try to do is to bring Washington's 2 big guys, Timmons and Dime, away from the basket and shoot the ball. I think the only chance they have really to win here is to make threes over Washington's bigs.
Fultz, the true freshman out of Maryland. Timmons. Fultz from the corner. Timmons fighting for position with Downey.
Nice block off right there.
Crisp gets his hands on it. Stays in bounds. Fills off the mark. Fultz diving. And timeout called.
It's early on in the season, Aaron. I got to tell you, I don't know a lot of that. Obviously, he's worked on it as well. You don't just step out and do that without having done it before.
Well, he's on basically every watch list in the country. And can you believe it that as a sophomore in high school in Maryland, he was on the JV team? Eventually made his way to the varsity at the end of the season, but began on JV.
Well, we talked about that, Aaron, is how he has really an NBA body. If you look at him, put it ahead, doesn't do it.
Downey gets it down low. Timmons, an easy block, doesn't even have to leave his feet. Looking for Dime. Knocked away by Reynolds.
I think what you're going to see from this Yale outfit is a well-disciplined, well-coached basketball team that typically will not beat itself. I think that's more Ivy League basketball. They don't necessarily try to out-talent you or out-athlete you, but they're very disciplined and really know how to play.
Alex Copeland checks in. Crisp in traffic. Trying to step through it. Dime over the back.
Well, he gets a push off as well, so it's 1-for-1 right there. The one thing I would question about the Huskies, just thinking back or hailing back to last year, who shoots the perimeter shot for them, Aaron? They're big inside, obviously. To go inside, they've got some size. Here comes Dickerson off the bench. Played a lot last year, recovering from a concussion. But somebody's going to have to open this thing up by drilling the perimeter shot.
Noah Dickerson, Dominic Green. Both on the floor now for Lorenzo Romar. And early 2-2 tie. Stayed like that for a while. Both teams trying to get something going offensively. Penetration from Downey.
Very nice. Big man takes it in. Little runner inside.
High screen for Fultz and a carry.
That's a pretty easy call right there. If you're allowed to get away with that, you're awfully difficult to guard at point of attack.
10 days ago, here in Seattle, Western Washington came. The Huskies held on, but not by much. They won 109-103. 27 fouls for the Huskies in that exhibition game. Three ball is good. Reynolds.
Once again, as we talked about, Yale's big people pulling Washington's people away from the basket. A lot of pick and pops as compared to pick and rolls.
First touch for Dickerson, throwing a shoulder, and it goes to Yale. The Bulldogs coming in with an early broke a 54-year tournament drought, an upset win in the first round over Baylor, and went on to lose to Duke. And, of course, the biggest storyline for Yale right now, they are without their leading scorer, Makai Mason, out for the season, a broken foot somewhat recently in a scrimmage. Mason had 31 points in that upset tournament win against Baylor.
Huge win to beat Baylor in the tournament on number 5 seed. Huge win for the Ivy League and for Coach Jones.
Reynolds from the wing, a three, and a bounding board that time by Fultz. Foul away from the ball.
Inside wrestling for post position. Blake Reynolds fighting Dickerson for that spot inside. Really no need for that, but Dickerson a big banger trying to get a low post position inside.
Dominic Green averaging 11 minutes last year, coming off the bench here today. Fultz has the only bucket in his first attempt in a Huskies uniform. Tries to give it up, knocked away. Numbers for Yale. Pushing, Fultz on the other end. Whistle for the foul.
Pretty patient defensively from Fultz. Might have been a foul after the block, but he waited for him to commit to the shot and went after the ball.
So no foul call. That was Downey taking it. Huskies trailing early. We welcome those who join us from UTSA, Oregon State. Aaron Goldsmith alongside Mike Montgomery. Season opener for the Huskies here in Seattle.
Yale has yet to turn the ball over, which would be a typical Ivy League type performance.
Copeland driving high off the glass. Bible rips it down. Here comes Fultz and company. On the wing to Green. Good head fake, pulls up in stride.
Tough shot. Very nice. Lifted him, under control, put it down on the floor. Little mid-range jump shot. See, shows it, takes it 1-2 dribbles. Nice, easy. A lot of guys will want to take that to the basket, take it to traffic. Just takes what's given to him. The nice 15-foot jumper area. We need to see more of the mid-range game.
Meanwhile, Sam Timmons gets a breather. As Blake Dime back on the floor for the Huskies. Dickerson gets his hand in there, but controlled by the Bulldogs. Into the corner. Downey puts it up and buries it. He's got an early 5. Bible, tough shot.
Ooh, boy, nice shot from the corner. Over pressure. Husky defender had his hand up. Yale Bulldog paid no attention and knocked it down.
Downey with 5 of the first 10 points for Yale as Thibault has a chance for 2 shots.
Washington typically likes to take the ball to the basket, Aaron. That's exactly what Thibault did right there. Took it on the base, forced contact, got to the foul line. Of course, then you've got to finish the job.
Fultz with 2 of the 4 points early on, making now 5 for the Huskies as he entered the bench for the first time. And Carlos Johnson, freshman out of the Oakland area, checks in for the first time in his Huskies career.
Because there's so many new players there, and he's going to want to get a lot of players playing time to make some decisions about rotations.
Phil's good backdoor pass. Wide open off the glass, and the put through by Reynolds, who has 5. Crisp sees a lane, takes it. First points for David Crisp.
Didn't pay attention to the scouting report. Crisp, left-handed, got to the glass right there.
Oh, and a good look underneath, and the finish by Reynolds.
Lost vision, very nice back cut, and great vision, as you mentioned.
Too strong in the corner that time from Carlos Johnson. Dickerson, a free throw.
After not many points scored early, now all of a sudden the ball's starting to go in a little bit for both teams as they relax.
Cuts the Yale lead to 5. Only another good feed.
Washington's having a hard time, Aaron, on their pick and roll coverage right now. They're overcommitting to the ball. They either pick and pop or pick and roll, and they've got 3 or 4 baskets. So here he just rolls down. Dickerson stays too long on the coverage. Nothing was going to happen right there. And here's a little pick, what I would call a pick and pop, because you're not rolling to the basket. You're rolling to the open side, which you see what a lot of people do with their good shooters that are big people.
And now a conversation between James Jones, head coach for Yale, and one of the officials.
Well, there's going to be a lot of that early on as both coaches, players, and officials try to figure out the rules, emphasis, get used to what's going to happen this year.
Dickerson finds himself wide open. It's called off, an offensive foul.
So that conversation that James Jones had might have been what caused that call, but he did clear him out. There wasn't much the defender could do. So you watch right here, Dickerson, of course, is the load. Well, see, he pushed him. He moved him completely away.
Working against Austin Williams, freshman out of Jacksonville.
Who did a nice job of selling it.
A foul is Copeland trying to take it towards a strike. That's the first foul on Dominic Green.
Hand check, 2 hands. Anytime you have 2 hands out, truthfully anymore in college basketball, if you put a hand out away from your body, you're going to get a call, especially out front.
Little Chevy from Copeland, contested shot, too strong.
That's a tough shot right there.
Williams pulls it down, and a fresh 30. Downey working against Malik Dime.
Boy, he's impressive. The thing to do with a guy like Dime as a shot blocker is take it into him, not away from him. If you take it away from him, he's going to get a piece of it.
Crisp penetrating once again, this time foul on the floor.
Moved around a little bit, bounced around. But all of a sudden, you look at the box scores. Isaiah Thomas wins it for the Celtics. And the Celtics have done a great job with him. Chris and Murray, a little bit of a shock to me that both went last year, but both having a productive career.
A shock to Lorenzo Romar as well when the season began. He did not expect both of those young players to be one and done, but that's how it turned out. Bolts back on the floor. Dickerson backing down, was whistled for a foul last time he tried this. This time he finishes. He's got 4 early points.
Well, he's taking advantage of the young freshman, Austin Williams, size-wise, strength-wise. But again, I'll hail back to what I said earlier, Aaron, that is Washington. Can you remember the last time they banged an outside shot? Everything's been inside. Nice backdoor cut.
Well, we've seen that a number of times. Fills to Dollier. Dollier's first bucket.
Very intelligent players. These Ivy League kids, of course, understand how to play the game.
Dickerson cannot hold on. 6 turnovers now for the Huskies, none for Yale.
Exactly. And Yale's not beating themselves. They're making no mistakes. They're moving the ball. They're distributing, taking advantage of what's given to them.
Downey gives it up. Williams.
There again, a freshman had a back cutter right there that he missed. Took a shot that he probably can't make. Now, Chris, he is probably their best perimeter shooter.
Copeland comes up with it, brings it across. 9-point lead for Yale. About midway through the first half. Another backdoor cut. This time Dollier cut off, stays with it.
Gets it over Dime. Dime came over to help. You'd have thought he maybe would have kicked it out. But he says, sorry, big guy. Block somebody else's shot.
Pass too low for Dickerson to hold on to.
2-on-1. Unfortunately gave the ball up a little too early. Got to make the defender defend you first. There's a freshman, comes out. But look how he goes up and uses the basket to protect it from the long arms of the law there. Malik Dime.
Good play by Dollier, the senior captain. Started the final 10 games of last year, including both games in the tournament against Baylor and Duke.
How's this for very early season concern? First half of first game, but he has to be concerned about giving up 22 points in the first 10 minutes of his first game at home after giving up 103 to Division II Western Washington in an exhibition. I know that's an area that Coach Romar wanted to improve on.
That wasn't pretty. Matthew Attaway whistled for the foul. The transfer from Auburn just on the floor.
Wow, this kid Downey is pretty impressive inside there. He is a senior. He's been around. Nice little jump hook.
Fultz pulls up. Back iron. Rattles. Pulled down by Downey.
See, there's where a senior, a lot of kids right there in traffic would have thrown an elbow, but he didn't. See, he comes, gets him. Nice left shoulder jump hook. That's the toughest shot to defend in the game. More kids need to be able to do that because even undersized or maybe you don't lift very much, hard shot to defend against.
Well, Attaway's been on the floor for less than a minute. He's been whistled for 2 fouls already. Dollier on the wing.
Attaway, of course, hasn't played the game in almost 3 years there, and so there's probably a little rust there.
Oney knocks down his second three-pointer. He's got 8 on the day so far. And you're right about Attaway. A stress fracture at Auburn, missing a full year, then transferring, missing a year because of that. Junior out of Toronto. Fultz, the 3. Quick possession. Downey 6 points and another rebound.
Obviously, Washington needs to stay poised right here.
Front iron, no good from Reynolds.
Look at him on the boards.
Crisp able to save it at Thibault back on the floor. Fultz with the spin move. Keeping his eyes up for Crisp. Nothing falling for the Huskies. Chance for a possession here.
Slow it down. You got to get a shot you can make. They're a little bit out of sync, shooting fast. Balanced up jump shots. A lot of basketball left to play.
5 to shoot. Crisp has to do something with it. Steps back, gives it up. Dime wasn't looking, and a turnover. Quickly into the front court, uncontested Downey.
But a run out, you can't do that. Washington's a little
6'9", 230-pound senior out of Lake Forest, Illinois. Only 3 career starts entering today.
Something to be said about experience. Having been around a little bit, coming off as successful, Yale jumps out in the zone here a little bit, which a lot of people do coming out of a timeout, thinking that Lorenzo Romar maybe set up a play.
Fultz weaving, dime, the reverse slam!
Well, that maybe you'll get them going a little bit. Crowd like that, maybe it'll get the Huskies going a little bit. Pretty impressive play there by Dime.
Helps break up a 9-2 Yale run.
Hard to rebound out of a zone, but keeps the Huskies from running a set play, maybe a setup out of a timeout.
Thibault gets his hands on it, knocks it back. Downey comes up with it. 5 to shoot. Downey having a nice first half, fades away. Timmons back on the floor. Yale keeps it alive and a foul.
Yale doing a nice job for being undersized. Rebounding the ball. Here Fultz takes it. Dime's got good position on the weak side, goes up and just reverses it. That's not easy to do. That takes some length. We've obviously chronicled that Dime has those long, long arms. See the Huskies being more aggressive right now, Aaron, both defensively on the glass.
Anderson at the line. Talk about those long arms for Dime, who's 6'9", a 7'5" wingspan.
We talked about Yale coming in with their best player from last year, Mason, who hurt themselves in an exhibition game. A.J. Edwards, who was from Seattle, is out injured. And the guy they really like, this kid Jordan Bruner from South Carolina, injured for this game.
First free throw make of the day for Yale. Did not have any attempts until that time of the line for Eric Anderson.
So Yale going to stay in the zone. Let's see how Washington. I think that'll be it for the zone. That's 2 baskets in a row. Washington looked pretty poised against the zone where they weren't maybe moving the ball very well against the man.
From the wing, Downey. What a great first half for Downey.
He's got a nice stroke right there, and he read that screen really well. He stepped flat rather than curling because of the way that Washington played.
On a counter on the other end. Last touch by the Huskies. Downey with his 3rd three-pointer.
See, the Husky player wanted to come over the top that time. They didn't switch out, and he stepped flat and got his feet down, and he has shot the ball extremely well. Downey up to this point. Frustration foul right there.
First foul on the day.
Washington is just going to improve consistently as the season goes on, as they get used to the youngsters, the new players in their lineup, particularly Fultz, but he's not the only one. Timmons is a freshman coming in. Crisp is just a sophomore playing. A lot of young players. Even Thibault, who played a lot last year, just a sophomore.
And the bonus now, Reynolds on the 1-and-1.
So impressed with Yale thus far because of their poise, Aaron. They just not rattled at all.
It's both.
It's a 20-point lead for Yale. Can you believe that?
No. This is a Yale team, as we mentioned, making the tournament last year. The upset went over Baylor, but missing some firepower because of either injury or graduation.
And they are staying in the zone.
Fultz weaving, reverse hand off the glass. His first bucket since the opening moments of the game.
Maybe Yale trying to protect themselves foul-wise. Maybe change tempo, slow it down a little bit with that lead. But Washington has scored 3 times against the zone.
Downey with one hand. And it falls right to Copeland. Dime gets his hand on it to the Huskies. We have seen some really easy looks at times for Yale today.
They have gotten easy looks. That's the first time where the size of Washington, they didn't locate Dime. They took it away from the basket. And he's going to get most of those in blocks. But they're doing a good job of getting the offensive glass, and yet they're not getting broken against on the other end.
5 minutes to go in the first half. She's been largely dominated by Yale. Green gets a clean look. Too strong. Reynolds falls right to him. Copeland taking in a foul. That's going on Chris.
Yale's into one-on-one now, so taking it at contact and creating foul situations is a thing for them to do. Washington's got to cut into this thing a little bit. They don't want to go in at the half down 20. They just have to get it to 12. If they can get it to single digits, that'd be great. But they've got to cut into this thing a little bit. They've got to do it with intelligent basketball, good shot selection, and, of course, aggressive defense.
Dickerson takes the place of Dime. Copeland at the line. Front iron. Right to Sam Timmons. Thibault in traffic and a foul as he went up.
Washington doing a little bit better job of getting in the paint right now. Yale not getting them squared at point of attack, creating foul situations. Matisse Thibault went with this with the Pac-12 All-Star team to Australia. Terrific kid. Really enjoyed having an opportunity to spend some time with him in Australia.
Made a couple of trips to Australia. Of course, when you were talking about the team trip as well, every 4 years. Of course, NCAA allows a team summer trip internationally. So Thibault, who has been a few years as a young boy in Australia living, went back there a couple of times this offseason.
That's a foul you don't want to commit 85 feet away from the basket.
Second foul on Dickerson. I mentioned that Australia trip. Huskies going abroad. Team photos.
Just a lot of fun for kids to bond. They go over in a foreign culture. I wouldn't say Australia is a hard place to be. It's really a fun place to be. The Australians are such accommodating people. Coach Romar, very, very nice to allow Matisse to go with us because he knew they were going to go on a trip. We needed players. And Matisse agreed to go twice, so he went long flight twice with us. But I think he learned a little bit, had some fun, met some guys from the league.
There's some clear frustration on the face of Romar with this first half as Dahlia misses the second. And Thibault comes up with it. 4.5 to play in the first half. Seen Crisp take it to the rim. This time he pulls out. Timmons on the deck with the right hand.
Just use that big body to get position inside. Nice little touch.
First points for Timmons in his Huskies career.
Of course, he's from New Zealand, and they did stop there, and he had a chance to get home with the Huskies as well.
Only with 13 first half points. Only with 7 to shoot a 3-ball. Into the hands of Fultz. Wraparound foul.
Watch the big fella Timmons right here. Catches the ball inside.
Here from inside Heckhead, 36-21. Yale on top of the Huskies. Turnovers have been a theme of this first half. 8 for the Huskies, just 1 for Yale.
So Dickerson last year just a 62% foul shooter. Misses the front end of a 1-and-1. Those are free points.
One of the best free throw shooting teams in the conference last year. The Huskies shot 72% as a squad. Downey battling against Timmons with some touch.
Well, Timmons did a nice job of staying square, but he's really got that thing over left shoulder.
Thibault a clean, good look, knocks it down. First 3-ball for Thibault, top returning 3-point shooter from last year.
First 3-ball for the Huskies in the first half.
Pushing a number from Yale, including only with 3 of them. Dahlia cut off Anderson off the mark.
Chucky came down on that ankle awkwardly.
Now, Yale has won the Ivy League in back-to-back seasons. We mentioned a tournament team from last year. 19, make it a 23-win campaign last season for James Jones. They won 13 of 14 conference games. Most wins for the Bulldogs since 1907.
Well, he's done a wonderful job. Interesting statistic, they have more presidents than they do NCAA tournament appearances.
Tells you something on either end, maybe.
Yeah, but they have a lot of presidents or not many NCAA appearances.
Thibault draws contact.
And that's what you're looking to do. If you can't get shots from the outside, if the ball's not going down for you, get in there, create contact, force the officials to make calls, and get the free points from the line. It didn't work last time with Dickerson. Thibault 71% last year, so knocks the first one down.
Now Thibault, the leading scorer here in the first half of the Huskies, now with 9.
Just to follow up on the Yale Bulldogs and James Jones, he's done a wonderful job at Yale coaching this basketball team.
A couple of years ago, Jones inducted into the New England Basketball Hall of Fame. His brother Joe, head coach at Boston University.
Washington get more aggressive here, Aaron. Forcing Yale to take some time off the clock.
Dahlia gets it swatted away by Thibault.
Still 7 seconds, plenty of time, but you have to have an out-of-bounds play here to get a quick shot. Takes it into traffic. Good timing by Matisse Thibault right there to wait for the ball to be released and get it low.
Dahlia going right back. This time Thibault with a foul. His first.
It creates contact right there, and that's the thing to do when the shot clock's down. Force contact. Force the official to have to make a decision. Coach Romar not happy about this. Not sure I disagree with his displeasure right there. That might be that new rule they've talked about here, or emphasis, what they call the cylinder, Aaron. That maybe Thibault's arms were into the offensive player's cylinder.
I've
his
heard of this
space
cylinder
to go straight up. It's hard to explain. It is, but it's a worthy concept if you can figure out how to interpret it.
Dahlia with 7 points, the last 3 coming from the line. 40-26 Bulldogs lead as we approach the 2-minute mark. Foul on the floor.
They'll call you for reaching every time. That's just a simple call for the officials to make. Anytime you put your arm out and try to go for the basketball, they're going to most likely call a foul. You've got to position yourself. You've got to force the offense to make the play rather than allow them to go to the line.
First foul on Trey Phils.
He too 67% last year, so it's not a lock. As good a shooter as he is, I would expect that he'd be an excellent foul shooter.
We were talking earlier about Isaiah Thomas, former Husky, and David Crisp went to high school in Tacoma. A huge Isaiah Thomas fan as a kid. She's short. Goes to Dahlia.
Well, if you're an undersized guy, which I'm sure Crisp was early on in his life, you know, still a guard, you look at a guy like Thomas with his size and really admire what he's done.
Good feed. Reynolds with a strong move. He's got 11 in the first half.
These big guys do not play above the rim necessarily. Boy, are they clever.
Bolts tucking like a running back, finishing as well.
He's awfully good when he gets in the lane. There's no question about that.
James Jones, the Bulldogs called timeout with just under halftime report. Checking on men's hoops. Nebraska Omaha versus USC, UTSA, and Corvallis against Oregon State. And of course, some water polo as well, with USC snapping a historic streak. Well, then would you be surprised? A little coach speak from James Jones calling that win against Baylor just another game.
James Jones pretty poker face, a little understated in what he says, but that was a huge win for them. I don't care what anybody says.
It seemed like a little bit more than just any other game.
No question.
Dollier getting a hand on it, keeping it. Knocked away by Timmons, but controlled by Yale.
Opportune play off the block right there.
Reynolds with 14 in the first half, his second three ball. Thibault trying to answer. He's with a hot hand for the Huskies, now with 13. Under a minute.
One more possession. Washington's got to get a stop and get a score. A little respectability coming in. A little trap right there.
Copeland. Quick touch shot.
Lee.
Downey has
I like that kid. It's touch inside. Big basket right there. Got to get a basket here if you're Washington.
Timmons. This seems like a little beyond his range, but maybe not.
Step back three for the big fella. 19 seconds. Yale's going to try to get the last shot, obviously. A little momentum for either team coming out of this possession.
Under 10 seconds.
Double high screen at the elbows.
Downey puts it up and finishes.
That's appropriate that Downey would catch that.
Educated freshman in the country. A McDonald's All-American, last year's Maryland Player of the Year, where he went to high school. One of the very top recruits in the nation, the point guard this year for the Huskies.
Great high school, DeMatha Catholic High School in D.C. is one of the historic programs in our country.
Thibault, quick bounce pass. Fultz pulls up in traffic and is fouled to go to the line.
A set play coming out of the halftime right there. Thibault come off the double screen on the baseline. He's been hot in the first half with 13. And then a second man coming off the screen. Fultz gets in the lane, gets fouled.
Fultz for his free throw in his Huskies career. So Phils takes a breather. 3 fouls for one of the guards for Yale. Misses the second.
First 3 minutes, if you're Yale, to come out, reestablish what you had done in the first half. For Washington, they've got to turn this thing around in terms of momentum. They've got to get aggressive.
Ball is saved. Back to Downey. Dollier finds a seam, kicks. And Reynolds gets it swatted away.
Good hustle by Thibault there to go out and contest that shot. What you'd love to see is a block shot kept in play. See how smart? That was a great play by Thibault right there to not run through the man and foul him.
Now
8 on the side.
8 blocks tonight, make it 9 for the Huskies. Crisp saves it to Downey.
I think it's shot clock right here because I don't know that the ball touched the rim on the shot block in the other side there, Aaron. All of a sudden you look up, there's 29. So I think they'll probably look right here. Goes in, Dime gets it. Saves it back inside. So I think they noticed that the shot clock had not reset, so they're going to want to take a look. But apparently it was okay.
And now Lorenzo Romar is asking some questions and does not appear to be too pleased with the answer. Crisp on Copeland. Downey, powerful move, fading away with the left hand. Downey with a dozen.
Wow, I was just about ready to say I'd play him left shoulder and make him go the other way, but he'd have proven me wrong.
Crisp in traffic, alley-oop, and a foul as Dime comes down.
Nice set play off a curl by Crisp right there. As soon as the big man inside shows himself up, he just throws it up to the rim. Probably should have put it a little bit higher so only Dime could go up and get it. He puts it up right there, although he didn't have much of a chance. The man went up underneath him.
Lappin goes through. Dime now with 3 points. Meanwhile, Reynolds 3 fouls to the bench
So
Austin Williams comes back
very
in.
thin Yale team now starting to get in foul trouble here a little bit. They can't back off, but don't have a lot of depth, having lost a couple players here this week.
2 players now with 3 fouls for the Bulldogs. None who fit that category for the Huskies. Backdoor look and a foul as Copeland was cutting towards the rim.
Really nice,
for a second.
really nice set play right there. And you take the ball away from the player. See, take it away. He bites, trying to overplay, and he goes backdoor.
Easy will, though. Time came flying at the end. Downey now with 14 points.
Huskies anxious to overplay and get steals, or overplaying and getting beat on back cuts here a little bit. Very nice inline out of bounds play right there. Yale, a very well coached basketball team.
Bolt steps back a deep 2.
There's a push off right inside. I think that's a shot that Fultz has to be able to make. I'm sure he can. Looked real good shooting. It just didn't get down in his first college game.
Now 3 fouls for Austin Williams. Fultz curling it in. Chin fake, and he buries it.
Yale was a little cautious on the defensive end that time. They've got 3 players now with 3 fouls on an already thin roster.
Downey off the dribble. Too strong. And here comes Fultz. No numbers.
See how they loaded up on Fultz right there. They're not going to let him get to the basket. That's smart.
Thibault fouled as he took it towards the line.
Here you see he goes into the basket, steps through, rises up. Very much under control.
Putting this one through there is Crisp.
Scouting report says Crisp is left-handed. Lorenzo Romar trying to get his club hustling, getting him going a little bit. Crowd starting to get into it a little bit.
Copeland off the dribble. Dahlia penetrating, gets it knocked away. Dime, outlet pass to Fultz. Watch out!
That's what the crowd wanted to see right there. Cut down to 10 points now. Crowd's involved. See if Coach Jones uses a timeout to try to slow things down.
Copeland answering on the other end. His first points.
Pretty poised play right there.
Crisp quickly into the corner. Dime. Baseline jumper rattles out. And a foul on Yale.
So in the open court right here, he takes it and throws it down. Yale's smart not to foul in that situation because they're starting to get themselves in foul trouble. They're also having trouble there in rebounding the ball, so they're starting to push a little bit inside. And Washington's getting more aggressive going to the glass, and they're getting themselves in foul trouble.
Downey, who had 15 first-half points, most on either side, now with a couple of fouls. As Thibault drops it in. His first points in the second half.
10-point lead, gets under 10-point lead, single digits. We got a ball game.
It was a 14-point halftime lead for Yale. Dahlia gets it knocked away. Crisp all by himself.
They might have missed one there. That'll get him going a little bit. But the one thing about Fultz, he's under control. He doesn't play out of control. He'll just get better and better as the season goes along. Gets used to what Huskies going to come out with a full court pressure here. Try to keep this momentum going.
Dahlia brings it across. Copeland the entry pass. Downey backing down on Timmons. Fading once again. This time no touch. Back up with it Williams. And a whistle.
Just out of bounds. Nice rebound by Williams there. Needed to pump fake, get himself go a little stronger.
5 blocks for Thibault to go along with 15 points. Downey, this time another block from Dime. Follow-up, good, and a foul. Trey Phils with his first bucket on the night.
That was just a hustle play by Phils right there. You saw the block, and he just ran from the perimeter, went in and laid it up, going to get the three-point play. Guard's not used to blocking off, kind of standing and watching. Nice block by Dime right there. In comes Phils. I don't know if it was Fultz's man or not, but he may have fell asleep on the block off right there.
Can't make it a three-point play, but it's controlled by Yale.
Yale does a lot of tipping to themselves on the offensive glass, knowing they can't go up and just get the ball.
Trying to find a man.
No 5-second closely guarded call anymore, so just take your time.
Copeland for three.
Again, nice poise by the Bulldogs, not panicking. Didn't throw it away, just waited to get their opportunity. Now it's back to 13, a little momentum killer.
And that 8-point deficit vanished quickly. Off the foot, stays here. All right, well, the Huskies were starting to put up.
Just going to make Bryce Alford that much better of a player along with Hamilton. Watch out for UCLA.
Ton of threes in that game as well, to get specific. Finding Dickerson on the block, spinning, stays with the right hand.
Just uses his size and strength to get a great low post position. Score the ball.
Downey, one-hand pass, picked off by Thibault.
Smart play by Thibault. He split the weak side.
Foul underneath the hoop.
There's a lot of freshmen in the league this year that are really good players. You know, there was another list of guys that we could have had in there. Kobe Simmons had a great game to start with. Leaf is an excellent player. We've talked about Fultz, Lonzo Ball. We've talked about this Markkanen kid. Really a big 7-foot player that's really talented. And there's more.
Every year there's more. Dickerson loses it. Fultz picks it up. What a pass, but knocked away. I'll have the makings of a beautiful pass.
A little scrum going on right there.
Thibault all over Phils.
See if Yale can keep their poise. Washington get way more aggressive.
Reynolds launching and hitting.
There's your answer. That pick and pop. They create a screen situation where the big helps, and the Yale big guy steps away and pops and hits the three.
Thibault on the other end.
It's about the third time that Matisse Thibault's answered. Come down and hit a three of his own.
That's his third three-pointer. He leads the Huskies with 18.
Not forcing at all, just waiting for the game to come to him.
Copeland cut off. Downey. Good head fake. Stays with Yale.
There was another one of those baseline drives with the big guy stepping behind in a pick and pop. He elected not to shoot at that time. I thought Downey maybe got bumped off his up and under that time, took him out of his rhythm.
Meoni back on the floor for Yale. 15 points in the first half to lead all scorers. None since the break. He's gotten into foul trouble. Just a couple, though. Downey staying with it, and he'll shoot.
He faked himself out.
I was going to say.
He had a wide open lane going one way, and he came back to his favorite shoulder. Took himself out, and he's laughing about it because he knows that.
That's the third on Timmons, 2 here in the second half.
This is something as time goes on, Washington will make the adjustment to this kind of an offense. Yale is doing an excellent job of using the baseline and then stepping the big man behind, and they can shoot the ball. It's a well-conceived offensive game plan and hard to guard, particularly if your big guys can shoot the ball like Yale's can.
Timmons and Fultz now out of the game. Downey drains them both. He's got 16. Some pressure from the Bulldogs.
So what they've done out of free throws is played 1-2-2 3/4 court press and got back to the zone. That's when we saw zone in the first half. Washington did a good job against it. Not that time.
Mistake by Thibault.
Cross court the ball. Tough to do.
Downey head fake. Got Thibault to jump. Second foul on Matisse Thibault, the sophomore.
You know, the interesting thing is, one of the things that you can do, Thibault's obviously moving forward, but you are allowed to jump straight up. If somebody comes into the basket and you see contact, if the defender has gone straight up, he's entitled to that spot. In that situation, Thibault was moving up to him.
Thibault getting his hands there.
Thibault's done a nice job at both ends of the floor for the Huskies.
4 boards, 5 blocks. Up over dime.
That's a tough shot right there.
Loose ball. And a jump ball.
Yeah, alternate possession. Goes to Yale.
Let's go back to that jumper by Downey, his first point in the second half.
Man, that's a tough shot. He's not only got Dickerson at 6'8", 6'9" on him, but Dime coming for a block from the second side, and he just puts it up soft on the glass.
Downey and Reynolds both with 17 to lead the Bulldogs.
Well, they've shot the ball well. They've been very poised. Obviously, that success they had last year has helped them to believe that they can win.
Bills on the baseline. Working against Dime. Steps back. Loose ball. Stays with Yale. Thibault is pleading his case.
Downey came up underneath and got the ball, and it went off the Huskies' leg out of bounds. Yale has a pretty good idea of what shots they can make and should be taking. Don't have much of a low post game.
A rare turnover. Reynolds with an extra step or two.
That is their second turnover. That would be rare in the rare category. "15-point lead with 12. Yale's bounced back. Now they're staying in the zone right now. I think this is to protect themselves foul-wise a little bit and buy some minutes.
Dickerson puts his shoulder down off the glass.
You got to make Dickerson shoot over the top of you. He gets angles. He's very strong. Easier said than done, obviously.
Cuts the lead to 13. Folds back on the floor for the Huskies. Trying to go back door. Nothing there. Reynolds, what a game he's had.
Good job again. Thibault stays down rather than go for the fake. Not going to throw that ball over those arms.
It finds Dominic Green.
See what they're back defensively now. Are they going to call?
They're going to call Downey for his second foul and a timeout on the floor.
Washington's 36. So, and that's pretty amazing. But it's the rebounding totals. 31 for Yale to 19 for Washington, which you would not have expected.
So the Huskies approaching a single game school record of 15 blocks. Just 2 shy of tying, 3 from setting a new mark as Dickerson knocks it in.
I would expect them to get that, considering where Yale is going to have to go to get their baskets.
Gets them both now double figure.
Nice looking free throws right there. Great arc, good rotation, a lot of confidence. Washington going to full court pressure.
With that 7'5" wingspan on the ball, but Downey throws it down.
Well, I tell you what, Yale is well coached. They handled that pressure and ran a special, threw it deep, which is a play a lot of people run, but no timeout. They just came right out of free throws and ran it.
Thibault. Green, same team. Dickerson trying to go back up with it. It was a fight between Dickerson and Dominic Green.
Yale stayed straight up there and didn't try to foul. Not that you ever try to foul.
Wide open look. Downey with 18 points. He leads the Bulldogs.
Just ball screen, back screen to a lob over the top, and Washington's inexperience handling those screens is showing up a little bit.
Green, a three from the wing. Dickerson pulling it down, trying to stay with it. Instead, Dollier keeps it alive for Yale.
A 15-point lead with 10. Yale doesn't have a lot of quit. Washington's going to have to keep their poise. Oh, they tried to go again on the back screen, same play.
Would have had it if not for the hands of Thibault.
Yep.
Tricky pass in traffic and a foul going against Green.
This is a set play out of bounds against full court pressure. He just came off a back screen and went deep right there. And there's another back screen. And the guy that's carrying the screener has to call the screen and see that and step down and help.
Downey trying to feed Downey. Knocked away. Green able to preserve the ball for the Huskies.
Huskies have to get good shots. Keep their poise. Don't force it. Let
Green.
the game come to them.
Following his own shot was right there off the glass and good. First bucket of the second half for Green. He's got 4 on the night.
I would think that Washington has to get very, very aggressive on the offensive glass. Yale's in foul trouble. They're undersized.
Phil's taking it right against Dime. Boy, there's been zero intimidation for the big long arms of Dime and company.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, Aaron, what you have to do is take it into the shot blocker. You can't go away from him or he'll knock it out of the arena. As he goes into contact, Dime has to step away and wait till the ball comes out of his hands.
Amazing.
You know, we say there's been no intimidation. There have been 13 blocks
By
by the Huskies, but it has not really phased.
That's not intimidation. That's just a fact.
It's gonna happen.
Washington's doing a good job of blocking shots, but it doesn't seem to bother Yale. A lot of times, if you've got that many shots blocked, you'd be hesitant to go into the glass, but they're not. Doesn't bother them much.
Bills gets both free throws.
Again, free throws back to the zone.
Crisp from the wing, a three, buries it. Crisp now in double digits.
Penetration against the zone. They got into the paint and kicked it from inside outside. Still at 12 as the clock continues to go down.
Approaching the 9-minute mark.
No reason to panic for the Huskies, but
Trying to go back door again. Picked off by Crisp. Upstairs. Looking for Fultz, who could not finish. A foul.
went to the well one too many times on that back screen. Here he sees Fultz coming and wants to lob on the weak side. Smart play not to give the dunk, let the crowd get involved. If you're going to foul somebody, make sure that he can't make the shot. Give him the free throws only.
Downey in the first half, no fouls, 15 points. Since the break, 4 points and 3 fouls. Downey, who was a star in the first half, will have to go to the bench, sit alongside head coach James Jones. Reserve him for the final minutes here. Run by Trey Phils. Fultz gets the second. Under 9 minutes. Copeland, a little shimmy on the wing, up under, and the finish off the glass. Once again by Downey, who has reached the 20-digit mark.
Needed some backside help, some backside fill. Defender came over to help on the drive, but nobody stepped down and helped the helper. Got to help your teammates out. It's got to be team defense.
Fultz launching from the corner, burying it.
That's what you want to see. That sets up the drive. He has the ability to hit the three-point shot. You got to play him there. He'll go by you every time.
Fultz now at 15. Fade away. Off the the mark from Copeland. Quick possession for Yale. Here come the Huskies. Fultz thought about another. Instead, through traffic, loses the ball, and it stays with UW.
Not sure that shot that the Bulldogs took last time was the shot that James Jones wanted. You know, when James Jones brings back those players into the lineup. For Washington, they have to go inside and establish themselves in the paint and continue to try to get Yale in foul trouble.
Fultz behind the back and a foul right at the stripe. Copeland's first.
As we speak, obviously 19 fouls on the Bulldogs, so Fultz is still in a one-on-one. Next team foul will put him in the double bonus. I expect that Fultz is going to have the ball in his hands more as we start to wind down here a little bit, with space to operate, get to the line.
With 17 points now. Eight-point lead for Yale.
That's not what you needed. You want to be aggressive, but
third on Dickerson.
That puts them into one-on-one. 83% foul shooter last year.
And led the Bulldogs. Missing it, but keeping it alive. There is Anderson.
Tipping it to themselves. They don't try to go up and possess it because they know they're not big enough, but they're tipping it to teammates.
Copeland with the spin cut up by Thibault. Under 10 to shoot. Copeland a lot of dribbling, tucking it this time. Foul as he goes to the rim.
Boy, a little defensive discipline's what you need. You can't reach. I don't know that he could have made that shot.
One show now on multiple nights. Sports Report covers the Conference of Champions like no other, bringing you the best of the best from the coast on the West. Sports Report tonight, immediately following men's basketball, only on Pac-12 Network, or watch it on the Pac-12 Now app. Third foul on Dime.
Washington's got to make Yale shoot over the top, shoot tough shots, not let him go to the line. Yale's had an answer almost every time that Washington looked like they were going to get right back in this thing. Yale's come back with a play.
No, you're absolutely right. Every single time, and if Yale ends up winning this game, that'll be one of the main stories. Every time the Huskies started to breathe with a little more life, as Crisp was able to float that in. Yale has had an answer.
Every time. Now, they've got a lot of back doors, and the last couple times they've tried it, Washington's been ready for it. But they've been awfully poised. There was a back cut right there.
Time another block. One shy of tying the single game program record of 15 set last January against Colorado.
I would think the more that Yale goes to the basket, the more likely it is that they're going to break that record. Smart play right there. Running out of time on the 5-second count out of bounds. We'll see if Yale's got something. They're going to switch the out of bounds man. Washington really pressuring up right here. They've got the Dime with the long arms there on the out of bounds.
Timmons back in. Dickerson to the bench.
Just wanted to get it in. They got a mismatch inside. Now they got it sorted out.
Dyer trying to figure things out with 6 to shoot. He'll heave up a 3 on his own. Timmons pulls it down. Fultz across midcourt. Fultz on the wing. Hits it down. And they're going to review that, it looks like, whether or not that was a 3.
They are. They didn't know whether his foot was on the line or not, so they're going to go back and take a look. 5-point ball game right now with plenty of time.
Well, regardless, a big shot from the freshman Fultz.
Up, it's 2. So what did they give him?
He was awarded a 3, as in fact a 2.
Well, when? Okay, I'm a little confused. I thought they wanted to review that. When did they do that?
They have not changed it, as Dime ties the program record, now 15 blocks for the Huskies, and some momentum with Fultz. Crisp launching.
Gets here.
Instead of a block, a steal. Fultz off balance, off glass.
James Jones going to bring it up and take a timeout. Washington clearly has the momentum right here by overplaying. So I'm curious, Aaron, when did they go back and make that adjustment or do that? Yes,
77.
Good piece of officiating right there. Official was uncertain. He told that they were going to recheck that, and they went back and they made the adjustment.
So it's a 4-point lead for Yale. Huskies on an 8-2 run. Odie back on the floor. Fultz knocks it away but recovered.
So Fultz is guarding Downey right now. You've not seen him. They're getting their hands on a lot of balls right now. University of Washington way more aggressive. But notice Fultz, the freshman, is on Downey, and he's not gotten much for. Not heard his name being called for a while, Aaron.
6 seconds to shoot. Thibault falls underneath. No block from Timmons and through. Reynolds now with 19.
That was a good no call right there. They passed on.
Crisp to Dime. Short possession.
Yeah, Yale's got to be half-court oriented. They've got to take what's available to them, but they can't force it. The tempo has been in Washington's favor right now. There's still plenty of time for both teams.
Dollier going baseline.
Wow,
kisses
nice
it off the glass.
Washington defenders had their backs turned on the weak side.
His first points of the second half. And again, Yale answering.
Yes, that they've done so many times. Very poised basketball team.
Dime has it picked off, looking for Thibault. And Thibault with the foul as Downey brings it across midcourt.
Still 1-1 right now. Okay, right here he penetrates, uses the rim again to protect that block. Now he just drives. Look on the backside. Neither of the shot blockers have come over, but he used the glass on a little floater. So we're still in the single bonus both ways. Next foul for both teams puts the teams in double bonus. Ooh, those are two that you just can't give up if you're Yale. A freebie for you. We have a TV timeout coming in under 4 minutes. Big possession right here for both teams.
Dickerson back on the floor. Dime a breather on the bench. Thibault has had a quiet second half. Oh, rocking the rim. Noah Dickerson.
I think he called it. I think he called a foul. The next time he gets in that situation, he can't back off and say, oh, I've got to stay in the game. He's got to stay aggressive. But for Reynolds, that's going to be the key. He's got to be really smart because he's had a really good game with 19.
Chance for a three-point play. Dollier comes up with a rebound off the bounce.
Both teams in double bonus, so foul shooting is going to be really important whichever way it goes. Washington going to get very aggressive on defense. Yale, as we've talked about, has answered so many times, and once again they backdoor.
Now is Dollier taking it. Fourth foul on Dickerson.
So here's where the foul shots come into play. Now the clock is stopped, which is good for Washington. the clock doesn't continue to run. But if Yale makes all these free throws, doesn't make much difference.
Dollier with 10 points now. If you go back to that exhibition scrimmage 10 days ago for the Huskies against Western Washington, where the Huskies narrowly won 109-103. The Vikings went 31 for 40 from the free throw line. Dollier gets them both.
A lot of young players, new players for Washington. They don't have the defensive principles completely down yet. That's where I thought they might go.
Timmons feeding Fultz. How about that?
That's all right. Now, see, that was a question I would have asked early on. With the size matchup that they had with Phils at 6'2", you can see that Fultz is quite a bit bigger, that they just ran him off a high screen and went down inside right there. Smart foul by Phils, but nonetheless, I think you'll see more of that as this game starts to close out. Now, Fultz obviously going to have to make the throws.
Esurance does auto insurance.
Stories and Carvelis, presented by Valvoline. Coverage begins Saturday at 10 with a pregame show presented by 76.
5 for 7 for the line tonight for the freshman Fultz. And his first college action. Gets both.
Not pure, but they both count. Here again's that pressure. Let's see if they run deep. Washington ready for that. Every possession is starting to become key right now, Aaron. Yale has had so many answers.
6-point Yale lead with just over 3 to play.
A lot of poise. They don't panic very much. Double high screen at the elbows. Pick and pop.
Reynolds into the corner. Oni, tough three. Rattles out. Offensive rebound. Downey.
That's
and
the
a fresh
last
30.
thing you needed right there. Now more time's going to start to come off the clock. Plenty of time, but still. Yale can't afford to get conservative. There's that pick and pop again.
Reynolds firing away.
Ooh, that's... Huskies dodged a bullet right there because Reynolds been very good right there.
Under 2.5. Fultz, transition three. Pulled down by Reynolds.
I don't think so. Come on out with it, son.
Copeland does exactly that.
Time is on your side if you're Yale right now. Just got to have some poise.
Under 10 to shoot. Downey able to finish. 22 points for Downey.
They use time and they get the shot that they want.
Under 2 minutes.
Washington has to keep their poise, get the shots they want. A lot of time left.
Fultz a clear cut off, and a foul as he goes up. Well, that seam to the rim closed in a hurry.
I think that might have been on Oni inside. There was a block from the backside, but I think Oni went and fouled him. But it's still a smart play in that situation. Although now what's Oni got foul-wise? He's got 4. So at this point, it's irrelevant how many fouls you got. You got to try to win the game.
Dime checks in for Dickerson.
All the little things now make a difference. For Yale, it's the block off. For Washington, it's the free throws. It's aggressive defensively. Try to get some deflections. Don't want to put Yale to the line at the same time. They've got to get the ball back. And he misses both.
Downey, who's had what a game, 22 points, has been all over the place, comes down with that rebound.
Sure.
14 for 20 for Yale from the stripe. Oni, corner three, tries it and gets it this time.
Oh, my.
Green going up high. Offensive foul. Boy.
See, Coach Romar had stepped up and he wanted the timeout. Washington was just make plays.
A tough non-conference schedule for Yale. They still have Virginia coming up, Temple, Pittsburgh as well. I mentioned it long ago. The last year tournament team, an upset win in the first round against Baylor, then losing to Duke. First tournament win in the 121-year program history of Yale basketball.
Well, you know, their schedule doesn't make any difference, and I say that, Aaron, in all due respect, but they're a one-bid league. So it doesn't make any difference what their non-conference is. It prepares them for their conference. They have to win their conference, and the team that wins goes to the NCAA. So the Big West has been sort of that, where they're a one-bid league, and the non-conference doesn't mean as much. But this team is a team that you would not want to play. I'll tell you, they know what they're doing out there. Well, and the interesting point here is, and for the first time, Yale was always the only conference in the country that did not have a postseason tournament, and now they do. So
this will be the first year the Ivy League has a postseason tournament of 4 teams. Thibault steps back, knocks it down.
Clock will stop. Now the clock will stop as the clock goes under a minute on made baskets and so forth. And the Ivy League is going to have that tournament in the Palestra in Philadelphia, which what a storied facility that is. Of course, the University of Pennsylvania right there in Philadelphia. That's going to be a lot of fun, and I think a lot of fun for the Ivy League kids.
4th foul on Thibault. 60 seconds to play. 10-point lead for Yale. Yale has won the Ivy League each of the last 2 seasons. Although 2 years ago, tying with Harvard, needing a play-in game to get the outright bid of the tournament. Fultz with under a minute.
It's too jammed up. You got to give him room to operate. Now you can't just park the gates right there if you're Yale and allow him to score the ball.
Thibault's done.
Almost an anticipation foul right there. I don't know that Thibault was trying to foul him. You know, you do have the 5 count out of bounds, which is what you're trying to get. Then you have a 10-second count coming across half court, although it might be too late for that in this juncture.
Thibault, a strong start to the season, fouls out 20 points.
And how about those blocks? You know, that's not, you wouldn't think that'd be what he does, but he's very, very active on defense. Now Yale, of course, going to have to make free throws. They've missed 3 out of 4. Opens the door just however slightly for Washington. Back to 10. Washington, of course, after a score, the clock stops. So will not be running, allowing them to get into some pressure, but they need some turnovers.
Fultz with 27 now.
I would have expected more of that consistently throughout the game from him. But as I mentioned a little bit earlier, I thought that he would have the ball in his hands more. He needs space to operate. Washington's got to work on its spacing, so he's got some place to go and some place to drop.
Two shots coming for Dollier.
For the double bonus, takes the pressure off that first one. If you're in the one-on-one, it's a little bit different story, but
as in the second, Carlos Johnson, we saw him for just a moment in the first half, took over for Thibault after he fouled out. Green buries a 3.
It is not over. Yale's going to have to make that point. You need to go for the ball very aggressively and try to get the foul. Make Yale make free throws, make them go 94 feet with no clock going off, and then you've got to come down and be aggressive, but you still have to get good shots.
Oni wide open to Copeland.
A smart play right there. The clock is what you're playing. You're not playing the score, you're playing the clock. Well, once again, they came up 1-4 flat, and they back screened in the middle right there. Again, a very well-conceived in-line out-of-bounds play. This team knows how to handle themselves.
All 7 points for Copeland coming since the break.
Sometimes teams will give up 2 and try to make 3, and you can get yourself back in it. I know years ago we did it in an NCAA game. So Fultz is going to have the ball come in full court. You've got to load up. You can't give him an angle. You've got to make sure he dishes it to somebody else. That means you've got to help. Extending doesn't do you any good. Now he's got an angle.
Malik Dime. Fouled as he went up for it.
When I say load up, you just can't give Fultz a chance to get in the paint because he'll get all the way to the glass with no time coming off the clock. You've got to make him give it up, which takes time off the clock, and make somebody else make a shot.
Phils has fouled out.
Very impressive. Of course, his father, Bobby Phils, played in the NBA years ago. Killed in a tragic traffic accident after an NBA game in Charlotte. Young man Trey was just 3 years old at the time.
This is the second one. Downey with a lob. Copeland.
Keep
Under
the ball
20
in
seconds.
Your best free throw shooter's hands.
And Dominic Green is fouled out.
They like Copeland with the ball. He must be a good foul shooter. He's just a sophomore out of Harvard Westlake. You know, Aaron, you look at the roster, you look at the high schools these Yale kids come from. You know, this academy and Harvard Westlake and the Haverford School. You know.
They sound impressive. Is that what you're saying?
Well, does to
and
me.
they are, yes. There's no doubt.
I mean, it's impressive. The Ivy League kids, they are impressive.
James Jones.
Obviously, they can play basketball.
He's saying that the academic rigors of Yale does not faze these players as much as you might think because they are expecting it and they can handle it.
Well, they're capable. That's why they went there, and that's how they got in.
Folks, long distance straight away.
Showing you a little bit what he's capable of, and as I say, he's only going to get better as time goes on. He gets used to the game, the speed, the pace, his teammates. I mean, he has 30. Just turns around, straight up. Sure, he's disappointed in the score. If you're Coach Romar, you're disappointed in giving up 94 points in your home opener. That's got to concern you. I don't think there's any question about that. But rather than put all the blame on what Washington is not doing, I think you have to give credit for Yale and the things that they did correctly, and they've done well.
Well, at this point, where do you go from here if you're Lorenzo Romar in what turns out to be a very disappointing loss, 98-90?